Awesome. We are recording. You guys, I am so excited tonight because if you have not followed or heard Jenelle on any of the trainings, she has been someone that I have looked up to for years. And I remember when I was a brand new coach, there were multiple times she was on the National Wake Up Call. And each time I was there with my notebook, taking notes, and I would go and implement. And I just remember this today, actually. Jenelle, you shared something. I think I was a brand new, maybe brand new diamond coach about an Emerald push group that you were doing. This is back in 2011.
Okay.
And I got off the training, the National Wake Up Call. I implemented everything that she shared. And my business was truly just exploding. And I had these other leaders coming to me going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "I just listened to Jenelle Summers' call and did exactly what she said." They're like, "Yeah, but what?" And I'm like, "No, exactly what she said. Like, I did that." And so I have always looked up to her, and I am so excited for her to share about recruiting with you all tonight. Jenelle, I didn't get all of your accolades, but I know there's a lot, like multiple superstar diamond coach, 7-time elite. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, 7-time. Yeah.
7-time elite, definitely Millions Club, all these incredible accolades. But I am just so honored to have you here. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to share with us. And I'm just going to let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christy. It's truly my honor to speak to your team. I know that you guys get amazing trainings from Christy, so I don't take this role lightly at all. I'll start a little bit with my story, and obviously I'm going to be talking about recruiting, and it's such a huge topic. Like Christy and I were talking about this, that there's so many different angles of recruiting that really need to be covered, and I could literally do a 4-hour, I could write a book on it. And so my fear is always that I'll miss something really, really key that I need to say. So if at any point you guys have questions, I think I'll be able to see the questions. Actually, I can't see the chat. Let me see if I can see the chat. Yes. Okay. So now I can see the chat. So I will kind of, if you don't mind, occasionally look over there for questions and try not to get too off track. So with my story, in case you guys aren't familiar, when I was, looking into this business, actually it was my sister who said, "Jenelle, you should totally do this. It's everything you love. It's fitness and health and nutrition." And I have always loved fitness, health, and nutrition. It's always been my passion since I was like 14 years old. And, but the thing is, I had gone into the corporate world. And so I didn't see myself ever being able to quit my full-time job, my career. When you're going that path, that's just what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to, go into network marketing, and especially not fitness within network marketing. And so I went into the corporate world, and I never saw that there would ever be any potential for me to be able to quit that full-time career and be able to stay at home and be a stay-at-home mom, which was always my dream. Like, I just really, once we had Tyler, Matt and I, and we were both working full-time, Matt in finance and me in HR, I just always looked at these other moms who were able to just, on a Wednesday, go to the grocery store, and on Thursday, go to the kids' school. And, I was like, wow, that's awesome. And through those times when I was working full-time, I also taught fitness classes, but I had to teach early in the morning or late at night. And I thought, wow, how cool would it be to be one of those moms that just goes and works out at like 9 a.m. Like, that's dreamy. I couldn't imagine how that would ever happen for me. I'd already made up my mind that would never be an opportunity for me. Matt and I both needed to work full time to make the income that we wanted to make and be able to pay off the bills that we wanted to pay off. And, we weren't like broke, but we definitely were financially tight. And Matt, being a finance person, we didn't rack up a bunch of debt or anything. We just really, really watched our money. And I just didn't even want to admit that there was so much that Matt and I would not ever do for ourselves, or as far as vacations, or as far as buying things or doing things for Tyler or taking Tyler places, because of money. I just wouldn't even let that enter my mind, the life that we were living, because we were held back financially. I didn't want to admit that. I'm a very positive person, so I always just suppressed all of those feelings and thoughts. And so when this business came along, even though I was like, oh gosh, no, I would never do something like that. Like, I'm completely an introvert. You guys may not know, but I was painfully shy growing up, and even through high school and college. And even though I taught fitness classes, it was a huge ordeal for me to be able to get up in front of other people. Once the music was on, and I taught all my classes with the lights off. We just had dimmed lights, and I had hat pulled down. We could barely even see my face, and we just rocked it out to loud music. But I was extremely shy. So when people would come up to me after class, just such a shy person. And so for me to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a social media type network marketing business, no way. I wasn't even on social media. So I put my hands up. I was like, no, that's so not me. I don't do sales. I would never do sales, nothing that's even sales related. I had some friends that did other network marketing businesses where they had to like host those home parties. Are you guys familiar with the home parties? And so I had been to a few of those, and I was like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Like, props to them. That's great. I could never do that. And in fact, at one point in time, I had tried, I had, while I was working full time, I had gotten my, certification to teach fitness classes and personal training back when I was like 19, 20 years old. And so on top of teaching fitness classes, I would do some personal training. I thought, what if I could open my own personal training? Well, I couldn't sell any personal training sessions to anyone because I'd be like, I'll just do it for free. I couldn't even sell a personal training session because I would just give my personal training to people. So I thought, no way could I do this business. But it intrigued me just enough that I started looking into it. So my reason for telling you this is that even though I was one of those people that was like, no way, no thank you, not for me. I'm not that girl. I'm not your girl. The seed had been planted and there was a need. I did have a need. I really had this dream that really probably no one, maybe not even my husband ever knew that was a burning desire deep within me to not have to go to work all day. And I'm a workaholic, or I'm not now, but I was. And I was that last person in the office, and Matt would be at home calling me going, Jenelle, just stop, come home, stop working. Like, that was me. And I always had this burning desire to be a mom that could just work from home. And if I wanted to take, Tyler to Target, or I wanted to just say, screw it, and let's, go do something else for the day, that I could do that. Like, that was a dream to me, to have that type of freedom. And so she had planted that seed in me when she talked about this business. And you guys talking to people that are me, you would not know that I had that burning desire, because I didn't express I had it. Because what would that do? If I had said, you know what, that does sound interesting, maybe I will look into that. That leaves me vulnerable, because now what if I change my mind? So the people that you're talking to, they're not necessarily going to say, yeah, I am kind of interested, or yeah, you piqued my interest. They're not necessarily going to say that. Instead, what they'll do is they'll start watching you, and they'll start digging into some information. And that's what I did. I started looking at the other top coaches. And what I did was, then social media wasn't as big as it is now. And so a lot of them had YouTube videos, and they had blogs, and they were a little bit on, Facebook. So I started figuring out where they were and what they were doing. And I was like, wow, this is super cool, because what they do is they are completely honest about what they're into and what they're not into and what they believe in. And each one of them, all these successful coaches, are completely different. Like, one was an older gentleman, and one was a younger woman who was super fit. And then another one was a really clean cut, principal of a school. Very soft-spoken, very reserved, very structured type person. Another one was an older woman. Well, she was older than me. And another guy was like this beach guy, and just wild, and like every video he like had his shirt off, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, and all these people were successful. I was just blown away by that, because I had assumed that a Beachbody coach looked a certain way, and acted a certain way. And it was proof that that's not the case, because what it takes to become successful is that you just be super confident in your own skin, whatever that looks like. And you be super confident that you have something to offer. And each one of these people, even though they had completely different backgrounds and completely different personalities and completely different looks, they were all extremely confident in what they had to offer other people in terms of their story, in terms of their experiences. And it just made me realize, wow, anyone can do this business as long as they're willing to put their ego aside and just put themselves out there with a lot of honesty and truth, and really look to help other people, not, saying things by a script. I remember watching one top coach and she was like, yeah, and then there's this one Beachbody product and I don't use that one and I don't really like that one, but I do love this one. And here's why. And I was like, oh my gosh, she just said she didn't like a Beachbody product. And I was blown away by that. But I was like, that's awesome, because I can do that. Because I am not a good liar. And if I don't believe in something, I don't know how to sugarcoat it. I only know to say what I feel. Okay. I don't know how to run by scripts. I just know how to say what I feel. And I want to make the other person feel good, but I also want to be honest with them. And I was like, that's what this is about. And that's clear. So I was all about it. And then I, with Matt, my husband, we looked into, okay, how does this work though? Like, these top coaches are making thousands of dollars per week. How does that work? Okay. So they say they don't, focus on sales, but yet how are they making all this money? And, being able to quit their full-time jobs. And that's something I would love to be able to do, but how is that working? So Matt and I actually studied the policies and procedures, and we looked at how the actual team bonus worked, and we wrote it out. We're like, okay, so if this and this happens and this happens. And so we just like drew pictures, and we were like, okay, we get it. It's not a scam. It's a beautiful business model where even people who come in years from now underneath us can make just as much as we make or more. I can wrap my head around that. That's something I can believe in. And that's something that I can, shout from the rooftops, because if it's something where, okay, I come in and no one else can make as much as me and I'll just sign people up and good luck to you, I'm out. I can't be that. I'm not financially motivated like that. I am really motivated by, number one, balance in my life and empowering others. That's what empowers me, and that's what feeds me. And so when I realized that that's what this business model does, and that's what fuels the entire business model, I was like, I'm in. And so right from the get-go, I understood that in order to, be able to earn that team cycle bonus, which was definitely, from what I could tell from the compensation plan that we were studying, that's where the income grows exponentially. And it wasn't just from signing people up, which I was glad that's not what it was from. It was from building a team of people who are using the products and programs and are also building businesses. And that's where the team bonus really started kicking in. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, right away, Matt and I made a list of everyone we could ever think of. And actually my upline told me to do that. She's like, make a list of everyone you've, ever known. And I thought she was going to ask to see it. So that's really the only reason why I was like, I better actually write down their names. And so Matt and I made a list of everyone we've ever known. And we contacted, I would say, probably 50% of those people. So probably, I don't know, anywhere from 50 to 100 people that we contacted. And the vast majority of them just thought we were crazy. They were like, that's one of those scam things. I've heard of it before. It's a total scam. And most of them had heard of Beachbody because P90X was really big then. My sister had already put out Turbo Jam. And so anyone that knew my sister was like, oh, is that thing your sister does? And I'm like, yeah. So they had heard of it. But not a lot of them were like, into getting fit. So lots of them, the vast majority thought we were crazy, or like, good luck with that, kind of laughing, and Matt and I, since I wasn't on social media, we met with people, we had coffee with people, and I would not recommend any of that now. Now you've got social media. But my point is that we didn't care that some people thought we were crazy or that they said no, because we were like, It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that they don't understand what they're passing by. But we'll just, go in with kindness and say, totally understand, why you feel that way, even though we didn't understand, but we knew they felt that way because they didn't understand how the business worked. But we didn't let it affect us. And so I started building a team right away and just equipping them with everything that I was learning. So I became a sponge to learn as much as I could so that I could equip them with everything that I learned, okay? And I'm telling you that because I think when it comes to recruiting and building a team, one of the things that may hold you back is that you feel like, well, how can I recruit when I don't really know what I'm doing yet? Or I have coaches say, I don't really feel like I can be effective in my recruiting because I haven't had success yet. And that's a mindset thing, because you don't need to have success to tell someone about an opportunity. Okay, this isn't let me do it first and then I'll show you how to do it. This is an opportunity. We can do it together. You can do it on your own. I'm going to point you to the resources. I'm going to equip you, but it's your business. You can walk with it. You can run with it. You can jog with it. I will be here for you. I will point you to all the trainings and resources. I will plug you in. But I'm not responsible for their success. You guys are not responsible for the success of the coaches that you bring on board. And I hope that just, relieves you of a huge weight off your shoulders, because that's the way I felt before I joined. I was like, well, oh my gosh, how would I actually help people be successful? I don't know how to be successful. And then I realized my role as a coach is not to make them successful. Just like your role as a coach is not to make people fit. Your role as a coach is to equip them. Your role as a coach is to pour belief into them. Can you do that? Can you plug them into trainings? Can you pour belief into them? I hope you can. I think those two things are super fun. I love to show people, hey, I saw this training. It was so helpful for me. It completely clicked for me. Watch this training. Or maybe you're doing your own trainings, or pouring belief into them. Oh my gosh, you're such a light for other people. You're such a motivator. This would be such an amazing opportunity for you to reach so many people and inspire so many people. Whatever it is are their strengths, pouring belief into them. And that's our role. Our role is not to say, I'm gonna be have a camera on you at 9 p.m. and I'm gonna know if you watch TV versus work in your business. We can't be with them. We can't hold their hand. So we can't control their success. They're in control of their success. But it is a gift that we give them, this opportunity, because it is what can impact their life more than anything. So that's kind of like my story, and also why it's so important to build a team. It really is the number one thing that will impact your income in your business. If you aren't building and training and equipping a team, then your income is fully going to be based on sales. If you want your income to be always based on sales and filling challenge groups, raise your hand. I doubt anyone wants that, because that means if you happen to have something traumatic happen in your family, hopefully that doesn't happen. But if something comes up, or something, where you want to take a vacation, you can't, because your income solely depends on sales. And that to me is exhausting. And I never want my business to be reliant on that. I want my business to be reliant on other people building their dreams. That is way more impactful for them, and it's way more fulfilling for me. So when you're trying to sell people fitness programs, and your help, in an accountability group and your services in that way, that's awesome, because you can change their life by helping them get fit and healthy, right? But when you're giving them the gift of this business, you are giving them the opportunity to change their lives tenfold, because not only are they going to want to get healthier and fitter, as now they're a coach, they're in that role, but now they have the opportunity to impact their family's life and the decisions and the lifestyle that they have and the balance that they have in their life, and then all the people around them. It's a much, 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 much bigger impact when you are building a team of people who want to build a fitness business. And let me just say too, in case I forget, when I started building this business and started building my team, I never even knew that there was such a thing as a discount coach for like a long time. I really just started hearing it. Like, I never trained my team on like, sign people up for the discount, sign people up for the discount. I never did that. And I started hearing at some point, this was years ago, but I was like, what is this discount coach? Like, what is this? I never did that. And I'm so thankful I didn't. But here's the thing. There's no problem with like saying to someone, hey, if nothing else, the discount's worth it. The discount makes it a no-brainer. I do that, okay? And I did that then too. I just never labeled them as discount coaches because I didn't think of them that way. I thought of them as someone who maybe right now is just enjoying the discounts, but I'm still going to be feeding their minds with the huge opportunity they have in their back pocket. I never stop letting them know that they can jump in anytime. And I think when coaches label people as discount coaches, you kind of put them aside mentally. And I don't think you mean to necessarily do it, but it happens. And you know what else? They put themselves in a different category. And they don't pay attention to the emails. They don't pay attention to your posts as much and all that kind of stuff. They start to, it's that self-fulfilling prophecy where they think, well, I'm just a discount coach. And I don't know anything about the business. I'm a discount coach. So really just beware of that label because, like I said, people will fulfill that label, and you don't want that because some of the top coaches in this business were initially discount coaches. Unfortunately, they saw themselves as more, or maybe their upline coach saw them as more and said, look, you got to really look into this business and start digging in. And I hope that's what happened. But just really beware of that. When you're recruiting people and you're bringing people into this business, lead with the amazing opportunity that's there for them. Don't lead with the discount, in my opinion. In my opinion, lead with the bigger benefit to them. Discount, that's great. That's kind of what I fall back on. If they're like, I don't know, I just don't know if I have time, and I don't want to let you down. I don't want to let myself down, and I'll beat myself up, and I'm someone that's really high anxiety, so I don't know if I want to do this coaching thing. And I'll say, you know what, Sarah, let's say her name is Sarah. If nothing else, you already love Shakeology. You're already, doing the workouts. If nothing else, it makes sense just for the discount alone. It's a no-brainer. So yes, I do talk about that, but I'm saying I personally don't lead with that because I don't want to label them that, because I feel that the opportunity for them is so much more. I don't ever want them to forget that. So even if they do say, well, I'm just going to sign up for the discount for now, I'll say, cool. You know what? Do you mind if I send you the starter information that I would send my coaches, just so you have it in your back pocket if you ever want to work the business? I have never gotten a no. They always say, sure, send it to me. And you know what? In my welcome email, I have like a video and an about me form. They always end up going through that stuff. And then they're like, I'm ready for what's next. Well, imagine that, because they get excited and they're like, okay, this is okay. I can be a student in this first. I don't have to hit the ground running. I can learn and I can enjoy this. And they have that assurance once they've got their foot in the door. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't miss anything on my notes. So we talked about my story and why it's so important to recruit. Now let's talk about when do you bring it up to someone, that you think would make a great coach. So maybe it's someone in your warm market, and maybe it's someone in your cold market who is, cold market can be kind of lukewarm, like it's getting warm because you've talked to them a few times, or it can be like super cold. So we'll talk about that. But the main thing to remember for warm market, lukewarm market, or cold market is really, is there a need for this person? I think that's one of the biggest points I can hit on because I'll have coaches all the time say to me, well, I have this friend and she would be amazing. Oh my gosh, the things she posts already. She just is such a perfect candidate for coaching. What can I say to her that'll convince her she needs to do this? And honestly, it's like trying to convince someone, to get fit just out of the blue. I mean, there has to be something within them. You can't force motivation on someone. They have to have something within them that says, oh, this is going to be worthwhile. I need to do this. Something has to be there, in my opinion, in order for them to act. And so you have to tap into that. So that's why we always talk about, CCQ. I don't know if you guys are familiar with CCQ. That actually came up from a coach that's within my downline that brought that up. And maybe you guys have already heard it. It stands for compliment, comment, question. And so it's basically just starting conversation. Of course, I'm talking about a cold market person. Oh my gosh, I love that dress. So that's compliment. I need a dress for a wedding I've got this weekend. That's a comment. And then the question, where did you get it, if you don't mind me asking? Okay, so that's CCQ. Okay, that's just an easy way to start conversation. But as you get to talking to someone, first of all, never leave a message without a question at the end that's personal. Like, by the way, I saw that new car you bought and it's amazing. Or, by the way, I saw that puppy you posted and it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. So always something personal, keep conversation going, because when you keep conversation going, as long as it's a person that is kind of your tribe, your vibe, they'll talk back. You find out things about people, things start to come up, and it might be within a few messages back and forth where you can just say, by the way, what do you do for a living? Or, by the way, are you a trainer? Or, by the way, are you a coach? Or, by the way, are you whatever? A lot of times when you say that, obviously they're going to answer back what they do, or they might even say, what is a coach? And then a lot of times they'll ask what you do. Okay, so right there, that's an easy way to get into conversation. But you really want to identify that need. Do they commute to work every day and they're basically gone from 7 in the morning until 6 or 7 at night? I cannot tell you how many women I talk to, and that's kind of my niche market because I was in corporate, but how many women and men are working that many hours? If you think about it, what most people want in their lives, we have a solution. They want time. They want money. Sometimes they need one or the other. Sometimes they don't need both, and sometimes they need both. And they want to look and feel good. Those are our basic needs. And so what we have to offer are in those things. And so if you really get into conversation, you can kind of pinpoint what they need in their life or what might be missing. The best prospects for you are the people who are super positive thinkers. So that information is not going to come out easily. Okay. If you were talking to me, number one, I wouldn't join your challenge group, even though I totally believe in Beachbody. I'm an independent person. I just wouldn't. So you got to understand different personalities and not just think, oh, she's not someone that's going to join my challenge group. She sure wouldn't want to be a coach. Not true. I freaking love coaching, but I wouldn't have been someone that would have joined your challenge group. Now I love challenge groups, but I'm the type of person I always think, well, I can do it myself. And oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Challenge group.
Positive thinkers.
Positive thinkers. Okay, thank you. So, some of the people that you're talking to, some of the best prospects, they are such positive thinkers that information is not going to come out right away. They're not going to be the people who are like, I hate my job. I hate the way I look. I hate my life. All of that. Your best prospects are going to be like, oh yeah, I love what I do and blah, blah, blah. And then, but as you continue conversating, or you kind of look at their posts, you might be like, oh, I saw that you, I don't know, I'm not good at making things up, but you might see little cues, look for little clues in what they posted and just start some conversation there, and you might find something. But I definitely look for clues and a need. Now, that takes a little longer. So if you want to get to it faster, and I know a lot of coaches have done a great job with this, where they've kind of gotten to the point faster. You can do that too. If that's you can take that approach too and be like, hey girl, I saw your account and the stuff you're posting is like so positive and inspiring. Have you ever considered doing an online health and fitness business? You have such a positive mindset and, healthy lifestyle. I just think you would make such an amazing, coach, such an amazing, leader in a business like this. So you can go right out there and ask, certain people. It's kind of dependent on, your personality and also the kind of the personality that you are suspecting is on the other end. What works for one person will not work with another person. So if you think that just that one script with every single person will work, it won't. You have to really kind of look at, who you're dealing with. Okay, so number one, so that was basically identify the need. Identify the need, that's when you do the invite, okay? How do you actually invite? Well, number one, you have to be in the right mindset, and you have to believe in the business, and you have to believe that you can be a good leader. And so one of the things that I did help me believe was, number one, I understood that building a team was going to be the way that I would build my business, that I would build a team. And my goal, I set out right from the beginning, was to help people build six-figure incomes. Was I making a six-figure income? No, I wasn't making any money. But I knew other people in the business were. And I knew I wanted to, and I knew I wanted them to as well. There's no rule saying, well, I need to do it first. Let's do it at the same time. In fact, maybe you can do it before me, but let's do it. So that's how I approached it. I was like, hey, when I was talking to my friends, I'm like, this is what it is. I fully believe in it. We can do it together. You can cancel if you don't want to, if you don't want to stick to it. But I'm going for it. Who's in? I just kind of had that excited, let's do this attitude. And, as the leader of this team, what I did was I said, look, I want you guys to be able to build six-figure incomes. I've seen other coaches do it. If they can do it, why can't we? Now, most of my team was like, I'm in, but they really didn't do the work. And so I started beating myself up and thinking that I was a bad leader. And what I was told at a conference that I went to was that you have to just keep adding to your team. You cannot let it defeat you that the people that you brought on board who have so much potential, that they aren't seeing it, or they don't have the discipline yet, or they aren't in the right frame of mind yet, or they aren't their why isn't as deep as yours. I can't control any of those things. And I realized that I just need to continually build my team. And so I did. And that was huge for me. But I had to be in the right mindset and belief that it was possible for me, and it was possible for the others that wanted it. And I knew that not everyone that came on board with me that said they wanted it actually wanted it, or at least not yet. So I had to just keep moving forward. I always had ways in for them, like, hey, I'm running another, training. Do you want to hop on this one? I never shunned them or forgot about them or, whatever. I always just was like, I'm here when you're ready. And that's the way you have to approach it. But I was also like, I'm also continually going to add to my team because I'm ready to roll with this. And I know other people are ready to roll with this too. And so I'm going to find those people. So number one, you have to have that really strong mindset belief. Number two, you have to position yourself. Now, I personally am really building my business on Instagram. I think a lot of coaches are. Of course, you can blog, you can YouTube, you can Facebook. There's lots of other ways. There's not only one way that works, thank goodness. But Instagram is huge right now, and we do have a really big opportunity on Instagram, just the way that Instagram works right now. But the way that you have to position yourself is really important. Now, you have to make sure that when someone goes and finds your profile, first of all, you can't be private. I can't tell you how many Beachbody coaches I talk to on Instagram every single day that are like, yeah, I'm just not successful at it. And I literally said to one of them yesterday, I'm like, do you want to be successful with it? She said, I would love to be successful with it. I'm like, do you know your account is private? She's like, I had no idea. So I don't know if people don't know their accounts are private, but you cannot build a network and build a business if you have a private account. So number one, you got to be public. Number two, you have to have something in your bio that really explains what you're about. Number three, you have to figure out what your target audience is going to be and pick, about 3 to maybe 5 different categories that you're going to post about and stick to those things and make sure those target categories speak to your target audience, okay, and the way that you post. Because if you're saying, okay, well, my target audience are people who are already into fitness, they're fitness instructors and personal trainers, but they don't do it full time. They have to work a couple jobs because their fitness personal training instructor thing doesn't pay enough money or whatever. So that's my target audience. Yet I'm doing all these posts talking about starting your fitness journey. I'm not talking to them, right? Because they're like, we already started our fitness journey. So they're moving on, right? You got to make sure things match up. So making sure that you position yourself as a leader, as someone that's confident, as someone that has energy. When they look at your Instagram picture, your galleries, they're going to make a decision in like 3 seconds if they're going to follow you. 3 seconds. They're going to look at your gallery. If they see a bunch of dark photos, they're going to move on. Not because they're bad photos, not because the captions aren't well written. Those aren't any of the reasons they're moving on. They're moving on because they don't clearly see what you're about. When pictures are brighter or there's a clear focus, they can see, and there's a theme to them. It doesn't even have to necessarily be bright. I mean, if you think about Amy Silverman's Instagram, hers is more of a dark tone, but there's a theme to it. Like you see lots of greens, you see lots of blue water, like there's a theme to it. People want to, it's not that people want to see a theme, it just helps them understand at a glance what you're about. It helps them see what you're about at a glance when there's a theme in colors and pictures and kind of categories of what you post about. So make sure that you position yourself to really attract those people, because if you're using Instagram to grow your network, then you've got to be using hashtags and you've got to be posting eye-catching pictures, because when people find you, if you want people to find you, they're going to click on those hashtags, and like I said, they're going to decide in a matter of 3 seconds if they're going to follow you or not. And if they're seeing a picture of last weekend's barbecue, and then this picture is you holding a baby, they don't know that baby, and then this picture is the picture of I don't know, a pile of laundry on the floor. It's a really funny story that goes with it, but that's the picture. They just don't, they're like, moving on, right? They don't want to see all that randomness. They want to follow people for a specific reason. So think about your past, your history, what makes you stand out. And I'll be honest, I am not perfect at this by any means. So I hope you don't go to my account and say, oh my gosh, Jenelle must be the best at this. I am not. Like, I am always trying to work on all this. I'm definitely not the best at social media, but those are all the things that I've been learning and I'm aiming for. So I'm just sharing that with you. So you have to position yourself. But the other reason it's so important to position yourself is when you do those invites within your direct messages, especially if they don't follow you, like let's say they commented on an Instagram story of yours and they don't even follow you. They commented on that Instagram story because they saw it because you had a hashtag on that Instagram story. They don't even follow you. So they comment on it and you comment back and you get into a conversation. Well, now all of a sudden they're like, this person, I wonder what they do or whatever. So then they go look at your account. And if they like what they see, then they're going to follow you and they might start getting intrigued about what it is that you do. But if they see, they're like, oh, she's clearly going to try and sell me something. She's posting Shakeology all the time, and she's posting pictures of Joel Freeman and Lift 4 all the time, and like, oh, for sure, okay. And they're done with you. They are done, okay? They're really watching to see what you're about. You really have something of value, because people only want to follow you if it benefits them. It really does. They don't want to follow you just because they think you're cool. They want to follow you because it benefits them in some way. So how are you going to benefit them? What are you going to provide them? Some kind of inspiration, knowledge, whatever. So number 3 is that you have to take massive action days to do invites. Okay. So that means you're probably going to have to make some kind of sacrifice within your schedule to make sure that you have massive action days for invites, where you just sit down completely focused, where you told the whole family, look, everyone needs to like clear out, and hopefully you're going to do it when you know they're going to be out of the house. I put the dogs away. Like, I don't even want to hear them breathe. I have to have complete focus when I'm doing my invites, and I track all of the names, and it's just something that I feel like has to be done in blocks. We used to say, invite 2 or 3 people to the business opportunity every day, which that's fine if you need to break it down that way. I personally, if you want to build a big business, I would invite a lot more than that. But I think it works really well to do blocks where you're just inviting a ton of people. Now, where and who are you going to invite? And what are you going to invite them to? Okay, so the two main things that I invite people to are to a sneak peek or just to learn more about the business opportunity. Now, the sneak peek is where they learn more about the business opportunity, right? But what if I don't have a sneak peek going this week? I don't do a sneak peek every week. It depends on my schedule. When I do a sneak peek, I want to be devoted, and I can't be devoted to one every single week. So I might be inviting, just saying, basically inviting them to learn about the opportunity. Okay, so I'll talk about that in a second. So how are you going to invite them? Like those massive action days, what are you going to do on those days to invite them? So a few different ways. Number one, doing on Insta stories, doing a series of slides about the business. Okay, so it might be, saying, I've done one, and maybe you guys have already seen these, where, it's just an emoji saying, hey girl, and then another sentence that says, I see you are into fitness, and then another one says, maybe you don't think this is something for you, but maybe you want to be able to someday go part-time at your job, or maybe someday you want to be able to quit your full-time job, or maybe you want more accountability for your fitness and health. Maybe you want a girl tribe or a sisterhood or a community of others who are like-minded or whatever. So you're doing like these slides, and then at the end, I usually do I would say maybe 5 slides. And at the end, it just says a poll that says, do you want more information, or something like that, some kind of question like that. And the answers are yes, or the one I did last was I did yes, and the other answer was maybe. Because I would have been that maybe. I would have been that very skeptical maybe. And so I did those 2 options. And so when I messaged every single one of those people that voted on those, and for the maybes, I responded a little bit differently. I right away said, hey, I know you're skeptical. I was so skeptical. I get it. This seems too good to be true. It seems like there's tons of people out there doing this kind of thing. It might seem lame. I got to tell you, this is legit. And this is probably different than anything you've seen before. Hear me out. And so we'll get into a conversation. But they may or may not want to get into my sneak peek, but at least we've started that conversation. And the main thing, you guys, is just planting the seed. Their response to your invite, your initial invite to a sneak peek, or just learning more about the business, is not that important. It really isn't, because my response to you would have been like, no way, no thank you, talk to you later. But what's important is that you planted the seed with me, because now I'm watching you. But if you guys aren't even planting that seed, you're missing tons of people out there that could be just amazing in this business. But you're too afraid to plant that seed because you're afraid of that response that I would give, which is no thank you. I'm not into that kind of a thing. Thanks anyway. Or maybe I would be the person to respond. I'm not the type of person to do crickets, but that's the type of response I would have given. So Instagram series with a poll at the end. Another one is to do just a regular post on your wall with a call to action. Now, I think it works best if it's a little bit indirect. It doesn't say, join my sneak peek and learn about the business. A little more indirect about what it is that you do. In fact, a lot of mine are so indirect that people are like, is this coaching? Like, I'll even have some of my coaches be like, maybe I want to do this. Is this coaching? In fact, on one of my team calls, you guys, I got to tell you this quick story. This was years ago. I started off I had already started building my team, obviously, and I was kind of frustrated that a lot of my coaches weren't digging in. And so I started my team call off by saying, hey, you guys, just so you know, like, I've made it to a certain point in my business at this time, and I'm finally making enough where I can hire someone. So I'm letting you guys know that there's an internship possibility opening, and it would start off, you wouldn't be making any money in the beginning, but after a few months you could be making a couple $100s a month, and it's all fitness and health. And after about a year, you could have potential about making about $1,000 a week, and probably about a year and a half in, you'd be making about 100,000 potentially, depending on how much work you put in. So I go and explain all this, and I'm like, just text me if you're interested at all. And my phone just blew up. And I'm like, you guys, I'm talking about coaching. I'm just not going to be your boss. You have this opportunity now. It's right in front of you. This is the opportunity that you have. And I completely explained coaching, but they just didn't realize that is what you have in your back pocket. I don't need to be your boss. You know what to do. So anyway, the post can be kind of indirect because you want a post on Instagram and on Facebook, you want it to get immediate likes and comments. And if your post is specifically about coaching and people know that when they first see it, the first few people, if they don't like or comment on it, that post is not going to be seen by other people. It's not going to get visibility on Instagram or on Facebook. So you need to do something that speaks to not everyone, but most people, that speaks to most of your tribe, even if they're not interested in coaching. Some kind of post that triggers emotion, that speaks to them. And then at the end, hey, drop an emoji if you feel such and such way, or drop an emoji if you want, whatever. And it's just something where you have the opportunity to now talk to those people in a DM. You message them. Hey girl, I saw your message. I completely understand where you're at. I feel the same way. For example, just as an example, I just did a very simple one-liner post saying, I was going like this in the picture, and I said, I'm trying to figure out where July went. You know who I was targeting? Teachers. Because I know so many teachers in July and in August are like, oh my gosh, the summer is going. And I love talking to teachers about the fact that they could do a business like this. Yes, it's not going to be overnight. They're going to have to take time to build it. But my point is when it was indirect, to find out who else is kind of freaking out that the summer is gone. Okay, so another one is obviously your challenge group people, doing an invite at the end of your challenge groups or mid-challenge group, your free groups. And also, like I said, just a CCQ invite where you just compliment, comment, question, couple messages back and forth, and then the invite. Hey, by the way, are you a coach? Or by the way, are you a personal trainer? Or what do you do for a living? You know, that kind of an invite, okay? So I listed 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 4 ways. When it's your week or 2 weeks or whatever where you really want to focus on recruiting, you should be doing all 4 of those ways like almost every day, so that you can build a list of people that you've invited, okay? If you just focus on one thing, if you're like, I'm just going to invite to this sneak peek and that's all I'm going to do, you're going to be missing out on tons of other people. Because when I look at, okay, wow, I've got 10 amazing prospects right now. Where did they come from? They didn't all come from that one post. They didn't all come from that one Instagram poll. They came from, one came from here, and 1 came from there, and 2 came from there, and 3 came from there. So it's adding that volume of possibilities where people will come in. That's how you're filling your funnel. Okay, I'm almost done. Sorry, it's going too long. Number 4, track. Make sure that you're tracking. Why? And it doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter how you track it. You can use Teamsy, you can use Asana, you can use Google Streak, whatever it is. I'm sure you guys have had trainings on those, but you have to track. Even if you just use pen and paper and a highlighting system. Highlight the people that are strong prospects. Highlight the people that you've already actually asked, hey, have you ever considered doing this business? Highlight the people that have shown some interest, so have a coding system if you want, if that works, but you have to track. Number 5, you have to have massive action follow-up days. Days where you just sit down, like I said, just like the invite days, where you are solely focused to just bust out those follow-ups. And those follow-ups are always super quick. They can just be a couple sentences. Hey, Sarah, I know you've been super busy. I know you were sick last week. How are you feeling? I'm running this sneak peek. I just wanted to double check with you. Are you still interested in getting in that? By the way, something's going off. Oh, my Siri's talking to me. By the way, did you figure out if it was the flu or whatever, talk, conversate with them. But make sure that you have those massive action follow-ups. Now, some people are going to go silent, right? Even in the last follow-up blitz that I just did, I had a ton of people and I had invited them to a sneak peek, and even the people that said yes, they wanted information, gave me crickets, okay? And so what did I do? I went back and I still followed. I gave them a couple days to respond. I still went back in and said, hey, no worries whatsoever. I'll take that as a note, because my last question was, do you want the link to the sneak peek? And I said, hey, I'll take that as a no worries whatsoever. Thank you so much for being a follower. I really appreciate that in and of itself. You know, I just said something nice, just kill them with kindness. And I said, we can chat later. Maybe we can chat about this later. And almost all of them so far have gotten back to me and said, oh, I'm so sorry, I meant to respond. So it's not that they weren't interested. And I knew that. It's just that they're busy, but I don't want to assume that I don't want to assume anything. Okay. So kill them with kindness and just restart conversation. Number 6 was following up with crickets. Number 7 is scripts. So the thing I wanted to say about scripts is that I talked about earlier, if I'm inviting and I'm not inviting them to a sneak peek, because I'm not running a sneak peek. So what do? What am I inviting them to? I'm inviting them to learn more about the business opportunity. So if they clicked yes, they want to learn more, or even maybe what information am I giving them right there in a DM to fill them in on the business? So first of all, I say, hey, oh my gosh, thank you. You know, I saw your vote. You wanted more information. That's awesome. First thing I do is, what about it caught your interest? Right away, find out those needs. And I know, Christy, you do that too. So we talked about that on your training too. Right away, so the first thing I do is not give them information. I get information. So many times coaches will say to me, well, I don't know what to say. And usually whenever you hear yourself saying, I don't know what to say, it's because you don't know what they're thinking. And you're afraid you'll say the wrong thing. And you might. So you better find out what they're thinking. Figure out what it is that interests them. So that's the first thing I ask. What about this piqued your interest? Or what about this caught your eye? So we go into that. And then I say, oh, that's so cool. You know, and I, conversate about that and say, I would love to fill you in, with some more information. Do you mind if I give you some basic information right here? Usually they say yes, or that they don't mind. And so what I do is called the bulleted basics. It's a copy and paste. It's just like 8 bullet points, and it's just like, we make commissions. We get paid in 2 different ways, from commissions and team bonus. I'm your mentor and would train you right from the beginning on what to do, how to do it, and ongoing training. You get team support, you get community support. The cost is $39.95 to join. Unless you buy a challenge pack, then it's waived. It's $15.95 per month. Those are the only required fees. You can cancel at any time. The trainings are free. It's your business to do whatever you want with it. You put in as much time as you want. That kind of a thing. Those are like my bulleted basics. And then at the end I say, any questions so far? What are your thoughts so far? And we just kind of go back and forth. And I've signed up so many. I never used to do sneak peeks. I was doing that way before sneak peeks ever became a thing. Okay, so the other thing I want to say about scripts is that once you find something that kind of works, copy and paste it and use it, and just keep tweaking it to match the person that you're talking to. And I think that's it, actually. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry how long I went though. Let me see if are there any questions. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Bullet points are in our team files. Okay, awesome.
I got it from another training or something that you did, and I copied it.
Awesome. And I've made it, I don't know which version you have, but I've made it short enough so that I can copy and paste it. It takes 2 DMs to copy and paste it, but and tweak it so it, matches you guys and the way you talk or whatever. But do I invite right away on Instagram or build a relationship? It depends. I would say my natural approach is to build a relationship, but every now and then, if I've been following someone for a while, even though we've never talked in a DM, but I've been following them for a while, I might feel comfortable enough, and I've commented on their stuff or they've commented on my stuff. I might feel comfortable enough just inviting them pretty early on in the conversation, because I'll just say, hey, are you already a coach? Like what you do? Or are you already a personal trainer? Like I'll just put the information, I'll just put the question out there, which leads to an invite. Anything else? I think that's it. Yeah, so keep it simple, don't complicate it.
Oh my goodness, Jenelle. You just have no idea how much I look up to you, and you've had such a positive impact on my business. So I'm so excited that they've all been able to learn from you tonight. This was so incredible. And I took away so many many notes of things that I want to implement and tweak. I know she said that at the end, and that was so big because I think when you get started, you're afraid of saying the wrong thing. But as you put yourself out there and gain confidence, you'll tweak those words. And of course, like I said on our Q&A before, I'm always editing it to fit that person. But the overall script of what the message that I'm sending out is pretty much the same because it's in my words and I've tweaked it over the years. So I love to cover that. That was so incredible.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I went so long. I'm looking
the whole thing was everything I think that so many people needed to hear. That is, the topics that are holding them back, and now hopefully they can move through them. And I know one of the coaches commented, like, make sure to implement 1 or 2 things, because there were so many nuggets.
Thank you.
But I already have my 3 to implement. So guys, and Cassie says she could have listened to you for 2 hours.
You're too sweet. Thank you.
For sure. So you guys, in the team page, I'm going to post this recording. Make sure, I want you guys to go in and comment on the recording. What are the 2, 1, 2, 3, whatever that is for you, things that you're going to implement immediately into your business? And it could just be small little tweaks that you need to make. And then tag your team. Because I know that the 3 things you might need to implement might not be the 3 things that your success partner or someone else needs to implement. And when they hear Jenelle's full training, they're going to be blown away, the things that they pick out. And what I love to do is then go back through the comments and see the other things that stood out to them, because oftentimes someone else says something that they're going to implement. I'm like, when did she say that? I totally missed that part. And so it helps me to go back through and learn from all of you as well. So thank you so much. I know this was an evening call and it's late for you. We really appreciate you, Jenelle.
Thank you. It was truly my pleasure. I love this stuff. So let me know, you guys. You can contact me on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know if you have any other questions. It was my pleasure. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.